going to be turning your Bibles to the book of Numbers. Our lesson tonight, following our reading through the Old Testament in a year plan, is from Joshua 22. But before we can get there, we need to start in Numbers chapter 32. So let's be turning there. And just a couple of quick things to say. I just want to compliment everyone this morning for just the way you welcomed the visitors that we had and the friendliness that I saw and the people that you brought. It really was a very good morning to share God's Word with folks, and you are to be complimented for all of that. The second thing that I want to say is I'm really glad Caleb and Kira are back. I know everybody's been asking me, when are they getting back? When are they getting back? I don't know. I just know he's supposed to preach on the 20th. That's all I know. I hope he's back by then. And it's really good to have them with us. It's going to be really good to have them with us this summer as they prepare to go to Alaska and start laboring there. Soldaten, that place. And have you been there, Al? Did I hear somebody over here say it? Say it again. Soldatna. As they go to Soldatna and begin to labor with the brethren there. And I'm looking forward to everything that we're going to get to do this summer and while they are here. Have you ever been misunderstood? No? You ever sent a text message to somebody and then they instantly just blast you and they're like, why did you say that? Why do you got to act so angry all the time? Who do you think you are? And you're like, I even put a smiley emoji with it. So you would know. I mean, it happens, doesn't it? It's an ancient problem. It's not something that's just part of our modern technology and the way we communicate. In Joshua chapter 22, the Israelites have entered into the land. They have begun to settle the land. And no sooner do they finish, I'll put finish in air quotes, warring with the Canaanites, they start to war with themselves. And what I'd like for us to do for our lesson tonight, as we're going into this week's reading plan, is to look at a scene from Joshua chapter 22 where the tribes on the east side of the Jordan build an altar they call the altar of witness, or the altar of witness, and what all is involved in that. Before we can do that, though, we have to start in Numbers chapter 32. Now, by the time we get to the end of Numbers, the children of Israel are camped on the outskirts of the Promised Land. They're on the east side of the Jordan. They are about to go in. Moses will soon give his farewell speech that we call the book of Deuteronomy. And then the children of Israel's, the armies will march in, beginning in the book of Joshua. But before they do that, we come to Numbers chapter 32. And we learn here that the people of hey, Chris, there you go, Chris. I thought I was going to have you do it. But before we get there, we learn that the tribes of Gad, Reuben, and half of Manasseh want to settle on the east side of the Jordan. And that's verses 1 through 15. I'll just give you verse 5. These tribes will say, if we have found favor, they're speaking to Moses, in your sight, let this land be given to your servants for a possession. Do not take us across the Jordan. Moses is going to say to them in verse 6, say to the people of Gad and the people of Reuben, I'll just give you a quick note. Manasseh's not mentioned until verse 33. So he's going to say to them, shall your brothers go to war while you sit here? Why will you discourage the heart of the people of Israel from going over into the land that the Lord has given them? Your fathers did this when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see or to spy out the land. For when they went up to the valley of Eshcol and they saw the land, they discouraged the hearts of the people of Israel from going into the land that the Lord had given them. And the Lord's anger was kindled on that day. And he swore, saying, surely none of the men who came up out of Egypt from 20 years old or upward shall see the land that I swore to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, because they have not fully followed me. And then he's going to remind them, none of them except Caleb and Joshua. Then he'll say in verse 13, the Lord's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness for 40 years, until all that generation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord was gone. And behold, you have risen in your father's place, a brood of sinful men, to increase still more the fierce anger of the Lord against Israel. For if you turn away from following him, he will again abandon them in the wilderness, and you will destroy this people. Pretty strong words, isn't it? Look at what you're doing, he's saying to them. You're going to discourage your brethren as they go and they take possession of the land of Canaan that God has promised them. They'll turn back, just like it happened 40 years ago. And so at that word, they confirm their allegiance to the conquest of the promised land. You look, beginning with verse 16, they're going to say, we hear you, Moses. So let us build some sheepfolds here for our livestock. Let us build some cities for our little ones. But we will take up arms, ready to go before the people of Israel until we have brought them to their place. And our little ones shall live in the fortified cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our homes until each of the people of Israel have gained their inheritance. And so basically what they're saying is, we hear you. We understand the argument that you're making. Thank you for letting us have this land. Give us a little bit of time. We're going to prepare for our livestock and our possessions and for our children, and then we will go. We will go before the armies of Israel. We'll help them take the possession of their allotment of the promised land, and we will not come home until that's all done. Well, we have the interlude of Deuteronomy, and this is just Moses' farewell speech. So let's go to Joshua chapter 1. So Moses has died. Joshua has succeeded him. He's taking leadership. Now the people are about to go into the promised land. I want you to notice with me beginning at verse 12, because they're going to reconfirm their allegiance. You know, it's one thing to say it before they go to battle. Now, as they're about to go to battle, they're going to reconfirm or reaffirm their commitment. And so notice verse 12. And the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joshua said, remember the word of Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, the Lord your God is providing you a place of rest and will give you this land. Your wives and your little ones and your livestock shall remain in the land that Moses gave you beyond the Jordan. But all the men of valor among you shall pass over armed before your brothers and shall help them until the Lord gives the rest to your brothers as he has to you. And they also take possession of the land that the Lord your God is giving them. Then you shall return to your land and possess it as your possession, the land that Moses your servant, the servant of the Lord, gave you beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise. So toward the east. And they're going to answer Joshua. They're going to answer and say, we will do this. And it's not just that they said, we will do this. It's that they actually become the spearhead for the army of Israel. They are the ones who are going to go out front. And that's significant because this isn't their land. They're fighting for their brethren. And then they're going to go back home to their land. But they said, we will go in front, or we will go before. So notice Joshua chapter 4. Let's notice verses 12 and 13. You know what? Let's start at the end of verse 10. And so the people are going to pass over into haste toward Jericho. And when all the people had finished passing over the ark of the Lord, and the priests passed over before them, the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh passed over, armed before the people of Israel, as Moses had told them. 40,000 troops, ready for war, passed over before the Lord for battle to the plains of Jericho. And so not only are they sending over just a contingent force, they're sending 40,000 troops that's going to go before the army of the Lord as they fight their battles, beginning in Jericho and all the way through the book of Joshua. So let's go to the end of Joshua. Joshua chapter 22, where we want to land. So the conquest of Canaan is over. We get to chapter 22, and it says, "And about that time Joshua summoned the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and he said to them, 'You have kept all that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you.'" I'm sorry, I lost my place. "You have kept everything that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and have obeyed my voice in all that I have commanded you. And you have not forsaken your brothers these many days, down to this day, but you have been careful to keep the charge of the Lord your God. And now the Lord your God has given rest to your brothers, as he promised them. Therefore turn and go to your tents in the land where your possession lies, which Moses the servant of the Lord gave you on the other side of the Jordan. Only be very careful to observe the commandment and the law that Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, to love the Lord your God, and to walk in all of his ways, and to keep his commandments, and to cling to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul.' And so Joshua," it says, verse 6, "blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents." Now, to one half of the tribe of Manasseh, Moses had given possession, and we kind of get some of the geography of all this, and they're beginning to return back to those places. And we skip down to verse 9. "So the people of Reuben and the people of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh returned home, parting from the people of Israel at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the land of Gilead, their own land, of which they had possessed themselves by command of the Lord through Moses." So they're going to go home. But then we read in verse 10, "And when they came to the region of the Jordan that is in the land of Canaan, the people of Reuben and the people of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh built there an altar by the Jordan, an altar of imposing size." So before they crossed the Jordan, these 2.5 tribes built a huge mound of stones. Now textually, we don't know why yet. We just know they've done it. So that gets us to where we need to be. Let's start pulling some lessons out of this. Suddenly, the 9.5 tribes on the west side of the Jordan react very badly to this altar. Verse 10 just tells us that the 2.5 tribes just did it. But now we turn to the 9.5, and they're going to react very badly to this altar. And one of the lessons that I want you to pull out of this is don't act on hearsay. Don't act on hearsay. Listen to what happens. Notice verse 11. "And the people of Israel heard it said." You know, those are underline worthy words. They heard it said. Not that they heard it with their own ears. Not that they witnessed it with their own eyes. Not that they talked to the leaders of Gad and Reuben and the half-tribe of Manasseh. They just heard the gossip. They heard it said, "Behold, the people of Reuben and the people of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh have built an altar at the frontier of the land of Canaan, in the region about Jordan, on the side that belongs to the people of Israel." And when the people of Israel heard of it, the whole assembly and the people of Israel gathered at Shiloh. to make war against them. Right off the bat. They're jumping to conclusions about what this is all about. Before we get there, let's listen to a little wisdom. We're going to go over to Proverbs just real quick. Proverbs chapter 19. Leave a marker at Joshua 22. Just run over with me to Proverbs 19, or 16, I'm sorry. Proverbs 16. Just a word of wisdom here, because, hey, we hear gossip too, don't we? We hear the hearsay that, oh, did you hear what's happening? I bet this is what that means. Just listen to the wisdom of verse 28 and 29. A dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. A man of violence entices his neighbor and leads him in a way that is not good. What kind of person spreads gossip? What kind of person repeats hearsay? It's a dishonest person, because they seek nothing more than to stir up strife. Or listen, look at the latter part of verse 28. A whisperer separates close friends. For those of you who have been in combat, how close are those who fought alongside you? Very close. Like brothers, right? And yet what happens immediately when this hearsay starts spreading around, this gossip starts spreading around? Those brothers in arms are ready to do what? To kill each other. All because they heard it said. Well, let's go back to Joshua chapter 22. They immediately jump to conclusions. Let's keep the reading going. We'll just go ahead and go with verse 13 starting. So the people of Israel sent to the people, then the people of Israel sent to the people of Reuben and the people of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Maybe we should just summarize that. RG half M. In the land of Gilead, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, and with him 10 chiefs, one from each of the tribal families of Israel, every one of them to the head of a family among the clans of Israel. And they came to the people of, here it is again, Reuben, the people of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, in the land of Gilead. And they said to them, Thus says the whole congregation of the Lord of Israel. Notice it doesn't say, Thus saith the Lord. It's thus saith us. What is this breach of faith that you have committed against the God of Israel, and turning away this day from following the Lord by building yourselves an altar this day in rebellion against the Lord? Have we not had enough of the sin of Peor, for which even yet we have not cleansed ourselves, and for which there came a plague upon the congregation of the Lord, that you too must turn away this day from following the Lord? And if you too rebel against the Lord today, then tomorrow he will be angry with the whole congregation of Israel. But now, if the land you possess is unclean, pass over into the Lord's land, where the Lord's tabernacle stands, and take for yourselves a possession among us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, or make us as rebels by building for yourselves an altar, rather than the altar of the Lord our God. Did not Achan the son of Zerah break faith with the matter of the devoted things, and wrath fell upon the whole congregation of Israel? And did he not perish alone for his iniquity? Wow, they're making a lot of assumptions there, aren't they? I mean, immediately they come in and say, Thus saith us, why have you sinned? If you don't like where you live because they're sinful people, you need to come over here and live with us where the Lord's people are. Immediately jump to conclusions about this altar. Let's hear a word of wisdom again. Let's go to Proverbs 18 this time. Proverbs 18. Let's listen to verses 13 and 17. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and his shame. I mean, this is Phinehas, the high priest, the faithful one, the one that the Lord commends all the way through. And I'm telling you the rest of the story up front, but he's jumping to conclusions and he's making himself look like a fool. How often do we do that? We jump to conclusions. Instead of just simply asking someone, hey, I was kind of concerned about that. Can you help me understand? We jump in and say, why on earth did you do something like that? How could you be so dumb? That's not the way I raised you. That's not the way our parents raised us. That's not what you hear in church. And we go on and we make accusation after accusation, and we jump to conclusions. Or listen to verse 17. The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him. Phinehas and these 10 elders from the tribes probably went, we are right. You are wrong. And then suddenly, they're going to hear the other side of the story. And they're going to have to say, hey, I'm sorry. I totally misread this. Because they jumped to conclusions. So we go back to Joshua 22. And the 2.5 tribes on the east side of the Jordan are actually going to react positively to these accusations. That might not be the best way of saying it, but I'm trying to say they're not negative. They didn't get angry. They didn't throw around their own accusations. They didn't punch anyone in the nose. They're just going to say, hey, this is a misunderstanding. So let's pick up that reading with verse 21. Joshua 22:21. Then the people of Reuben, the people of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh said in answer to the heads of the family of Israel, the mighty one, God, the Lord, the mighty one, God, the Lord, He knows, and let Israel itself know. If it was in rebellion or in breach of faith against the Lord, do not spare us today for building an altar to turn away from following the Lord. Or if we did so to offer burnt offerings or grain offerings or peace offerings on it, may the Lord Himself take vengeance. No, but we did it from fear, that in time to come your children might say to our children, what have you to do with the Lord, the God of Israel? For the Lord has made the Jordan a boundary between us and you, you people of Reuben and you people of Gad. You have no portion in the Lord. So your children might make our children cease to worship the Lord. Therefore we said, let us now build an altar, not for burnt offering and not for sacrifice, but to be a witness between us and you and between our generations after us, that we do perform the service of the Lord in the presence with our burnt offerings and our sacrifices and our peace offerings. So your children will not say to our children in time to come, you have no portion in the Lord. And we thought, if this should be said of us and to our descendants in the time to come, we shall say, behold, the copy of the altar of the Lord, which our fathers made, not for burnt offerings, not for sacrifices, but to be a witness between us and you. Far be it from us that we should rebel against the Lord and turn away this day from following the Lord by building an altar for burnt offering, grain offering, and sacrifice, other than the altar of the Lord our God that stands before His tabernacle. I mean, this is like a plea. They, at the very beginning, with the lauding the Lord's name, the mighty one, God, the Lord, mighty one, the God, the Lord, by repeating it, they're calling for God to come down and be a witness against them. If we did what you're accusing us of doing, may God strike us dead. That's not what we intended. We never had any inclinations of doing that. In fact, we feared that one day your children would say to our children, you don't belong to us because you're on the other side of the river. Hasn't stuff like that happened before? You ever look at a map of the United States and just wonder sometimes, why are those state lines squiggly like that? It's the rivers. We use rivers to divide us from one another. And they feared that. And all they ever had was good intentions. I just want to offer you two things. We've already read the scripture references. But I read in their response, and I'll call it a positive response as opposed to a negative one, that they weren't particularly offended. Sometimes we get very offended, don't we, when people kind of read intentions into what we've said or what we've done, when it is just the opposite of where we are. And so we get mad because we think they're mad, and now everyone's mad. I think they would have said, wait a minute. That's not true at all. In fact, let me offer you the explanation. We've been going to Proverbs for some of the wisdom literature. Let's go to the Proverbs of the New Testament. Let's go to the book of James, James chapter 1. Just pulling a little wisdom out of here, and just to apply it to this situation. James chapter 1, beginning at verse 19, James is going to write this bit of wisdom. He's going to say, "Know this, my beloved brethren. Let each person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger." Why? Because the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Getting angry at someone who has misinterpreted or wrongfully accused you of doing something isn't going to help the situation. In fact, it's probably just going to make it worse. Because then they can point the finger and say, "See, I told you so." But here they respond in a way that doesn't show any kind of offense. They're willing to explain their position and to give a reasoned explanation. I know 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 14 and 16 isn't a passage I think we would typically apply here, but Peter is speaking to Christians who are being persecuted, and he says to them, you need to be able to give a reason for the hope. And I just take that idea and apply it here and just say, look, we need to be the kind of people who can reason. Reason. We can reason and have emotions driving us. That's fine. It's not being cold or calculated in our reasoning. But we just need to be people who can talk, who can listen, and then reason. And then I'll give you one more. We'll go back to Joshua 22 because the potential for disaster was avoided and peace was preserved. We'll pick up the reading up with verse 30 and just finish out the chapter. So when Phinehas the priest and the chiefs of the congregation the head of the families of Israel who were with him heard the words that the people of Reuben, the people of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh spoke, it was good in their eyes. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, said to Reuben and to the people of Gad and to the people of Manasseh, today we know that the Lord is in our midst because you have not committed breach of faith against the Lord. Now you have delivered the people of Israel from the hand of the Lord. And then Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, and the chiefs returned from the people of Reuben and of the people of Gad in the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan to the people of Israel and brought back word to them. And the report was, because remember, they were ready for war. And so the report was good in the eyes of the people of Israel. And the people of Israel blessed God and spoke no more of making war against them to destroy the land where the people of Reuben, the people of Gad, had settled. And the people of Reuben and the people of Gad called the altar Witness. For they said, it is a witness between us that the Lord is God. I would just end with one more verse here. One from the pen of Paul in Ephesians chapter 4. He will say this to those Christians in Ephesus. I, therefore, a prisoner of the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of your calling, to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. That's the kind of people we are called to be. Being misunderstood is an ancient problem. It almost cost a civil war. Let us be the kind of people who don't jump to conclusions, but seek answers and reason with one another, always seeking to maintain that bond and the unity of peace. It's been a good day today. Caleb has a song of encouragement for you. Have you counted the cost? If you have a spiritual need this evening, if we can help you with it, won't you come while together we stand and sing?